We're going to call this meeting to order. Thank you for being here this evening, and welcome to the regular City Council meeting on December 5th, 2023. At this time, we call the meeting to order, and I'm going to invite Pastor Belgard from Church of Celebration to come forward with the invocation, after which we'll ask Councilmember Wade to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise if you're able.
Hey, join me with me in prayer. Father, thank you so much for your presence. And first and foremost, we want to acknowledge, Lord, Maricopa has been your land long before any of us got here. And we just want to subject ourselves to your leadership, what it is that you have in store for this community. Scripture, I love that it says, unless the Lord builds the house, those who labor build it in vain. And so, Lord, would you guard us from ourselves and the ideas that need to be thrown right out the window? But we do, just in humility, ask, God, would you use all of these broken vessels, smart but broken, Lord, to continue to do the things that you want for your people in Maricopa, especially for such a time as this, the holidays, where we have people who are in very exciting times but have very little means. And so we pray, Lord, the decisions that we make here in this building would affect even the least of these, and we trust you for that. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Matt and Councilmember Wade. That'll take us to roll call. Vanessa, please.
Councilmember Gettle? Councilmember Lehrman? Here. Councilmember Marsh?
Here.
Councilmember Manfredi?
Here.
Councilmember Wade?
Here.
Vice Mayor Bediello? Here. Mayor Smith?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. That'll take us to proclamations and acknowledgments, awards, and presentations. This evening we have none of those, so that'll move us to the report from the mayor. Council members, would you like to speak? Yes, Councilmember Lehrman.
I am so excited to thank our city staff for all the hard work for Maricopa. It was such a beautiful evening and so well done. I love the way the space was used. There were so many people there, and it was just a beautiful evening. So thank you so much for all your hard work. I had a blast, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you, Councilmember Lehrman. Additional, yes, Councilmember Marsh.
So on November 27th, I attended the Greater Phoenix Economic Council meeting. The topic was powering our future. And SRP and APS announced that they are going renewable in the future, but they need a bridge to get there. So we need to get our legislators to fund the development of a standardized small modular nuclear power generator. This is important for Pinal County, for Arizona, for all the western states. We can't afford to build another Palo Verde nuclear power plant. That's just not going to happen. We need multiple standardized small nuclear generators to bridge the gap to sustain renewable generation capability. That's solar and wind. This is a major inflection point in our history, similar to when Henry Ford came out with his standardized modular mass production Model A and Model T Fords. We need a Model A nuclear power plant, small modular nuke. Now, I've alerted our senators and congressmen on this, but if you want to join me, urge the legislators in Washington to develop a standardized small modular nuclear power plant. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Marsh. Yes, Councilmember Wade.
Thank you, Mayor. It was a really busy weekend this weekend, activities all over the place. But I want to recognize the Kwanzaa celebration that was put on at the Copper Sky, or at the library, put on by, I want to say JC because that's the way that their name. Joanna Vanderpool was the organizer of the event. This was her third Kwanzaa Day celebration, and it was a wonderful display of compassion, friendship, nature, It was also supported by the Maricopa High School Black Student Union, the Be Awesome group, as well as a group of singers from the Maricopa High School. I believe they call themselves Da Vinci. And it was, as I said, it was a wonderful experience. My hat's off to Joanna for putting it together and managing it, and she's done it so well for so many years that she's kind of got it on automatic. Well, one of the things, and then I'll sit down, stand up and be quiet. One of the things that was really important was the support that we got from the young people that attended. They not only provided an event that they had put together themselves, they joined in the larger group and participated in that. So I want to thank my fellow council member, Eric Ghetto, for participating as well. And I would say that it was an excellent job for Ms. Vanderpool.
Thank you, Councilmember Wade. Councilmember Gettle.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much, Councilmember Wade, for that opportunity, and celebrated my first Kwanzaa event this last week, which was an absolute pleasure. Councilmember Learman, also I echo your gratitude for our city and staff for the great evening at Maricopa. It was amazing as I spent a lot of my time that evening right there around the food trucks. I don't know why, I guess I kind of like to eat, but had a chance to visit with people within 100 feet of each other from Canada, from New Mexico, from Montana, Wisconsin, California, New York, if I haven't said that one already. Just families enjoying the time, all of which have moved and have made Maricopa their home. And it just reiterated to me the melting pot that we have here, the diversity, the wonderful community that we're building together. And I really did enjoy that evening considerably. Next Thursday, so a week from this Thursday, we have another cultural celebration as we have our second annual menorah lighting that will take place here at our cultural center or library at 6 o'clock in the evening. Public, of course, is invited to attend. If you've never been to a menorah lighting ceremony, it's fabulous, wonderful, and be able to round out your holiday celebrations with that experience. So that's all I have for us, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Gettle. Anyone else? Yes, back to Councilmember Wade.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention also the inaugurational black tie event for the Maricopa Black Chamber of Commerce. It was also that same evening, that took place as well. Well done by Mr. and Mrs. Ojan, and very well attended as well. So I just wanted to acknowledge that activity as well.
Very good, thank you. So I would like to draw a little bit of attention to the Maricopa Veterans Parade and Luncheon, which was fantastic. This is such a beautiful example of community members who just take the bull by the horns and go after it. I believe this might have been their fourth year, but fourth. Very successful, and the luncheon was just delightful. Veterans were very excited to be there and to be appreciated. I think it's really a fun opportunity. And then regarding Maricopa, you heard some of the other council members talk about that. One thing I want to mention is we always talk about how the city of Maricopa is a special community, and we are a close-knit community. And one of the things that I heard a couple times, and actually one of our staff members heard it as well, was, wow, can Maricopa do this every month, an event like that every month? Well, that takes a lot of resources. At this point, I believe we have 4 events throughout the year, and those are the best opportunities to bring people together. But that's what I saw was happy faces, joyful children. And in a couple cases, the lines were a little long, but I didn't see anybody frowning or pouting, or I just found it to be a very extreme, wonderful experience. And I had my little grandkids there, and they absolutely loved it. They didn't want to leave. I also attended with a couple council members Church of Celebration Leadership Day, and this is where they bring in the city council, the school leadership, our police department leadership. Ak-Chin sometimes is there as part of their leadership, and they really just share what are the positive things going on in the city, what are the challenges within the city, and it was just a lovely experience there. And then lastly, we have a budget finance operating committee, which is a subcommittee of the City Council. Currently, myself, Councilmember Manfredi, and Vice Mayor Vidiello are serving on that. And Vice Mayor Vidiello's experience there will end at the end of December, and I am able to appoint who will refill that seat. And Councilmember Gettle has graciously shown interest and very much wants to serve that. I will tell you, Vice Mayor Vidiello did a great job on this committee. He was very attentive and ensuring that the city continues to be a conservative financial path and responsible to our residents. That's one of our main goals as part of the Budget, Finance, and Operating Committee. And I know Councilmember Gettle will show the same diligence, and so I welcome you to that.
Well, thank you for that nomination and appointment. Appreciate it.
All right, that's your report from the council and mayor. The city manager has indicated that he is not going to have anything tonight to offer to us. So we'll go to the call to the public. At this point, I have 4 speaker cards, but that doesn't mean that you're not able to speak. When we get done with the 4 that have turned in a speaker card, I'll ask if there's anyone else that would like to approach the dais. So I ask you to please address the council and not the audience. That's really the purpose of call to the public. Let me read for you what the parameters are for call to the public. The procedures to follow if you address the council or council requests that you express your ideas in 3 minutes or less, and refrain from any personal attacks or derogatory statements about any city employee, fellow citizen, and anyone else, whether in the audience or not. The mayor will limit discussion whenever they deem such an action is appropriate to the proper conduct of the meeting. At the conclusion of an open call to the public, individual members of the council may respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the council, may ask staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be placed on a future agenda. However, the members of the council shall not discuss and take any legal action on any matters during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. So, given that, let's go to the first speaker card that I have, Brenda Castro. Yes, please come forward.
Hi.
I'm sorry, it's Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon.
I'm so sorry.
You know, my handwriting is horrible. I haven't been in school in a while. That's actually one of the things I am going to do eventually. I'll get back and finish my degree and everything like that. Yeah, no, I wanted to shotgun a few ideas, just thoughts that I've been having. You know, I've always appreciated the government since I was a kid. And I'm sorry if this sounds kind of like
Keep going.
I'm sorry if this sounds kind of like a Tinder Tinder profile, but I wanted to give you guys an idea as to who one of your citizens are. First, I am married, so yeah, I don't use Tinder. That's my wife, Mel. We've been married for a few years. You know, this is my first marriage, and it's mean a lot to me. I'm, 40 years old now, so I was born and raised in the Bronx. I was raised in the church. I have lots of military in my family. I thought I had 4 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm kind of rushing this. My family have served in the military. Officers, they currently are officers, even SWAT officers out in PA. And I'm really proud of my cousin Alex. He's a great guy. I do have 9 siblings. Most of them are in the East Coast. One of them does live here, which is one of the reasons why I'm out here, because I wanted to be close to family. Unfortunately, my grandfather has passed just recently, and I have another one that's gonna pass pretty soon. So that's been on my mind a lot lately as well. One of the professions that I had in my life, and I've had many, one of them was mental health, peer support, where people would call in on a warm line and talk to me for about 15 minutes, and they could tell me whatever they want. And they had to wait a couple of hours for them to call back. And what we noticed was that a lot of people were calling back within that 2-hour span. They were like, talk for 15 minutes and then wait on their phone to call back immediately. And a lot of those people tended to be senior citizens. And that really made me feel for my grandparents a lot more. So that's something I wanted to share just off the top of my head. I have a lot of shotgun ideas like this. I know I said I appreciate the government. And I want to reflect that in the way that, I know you guys are planning for years that you're in office. You can't plan any more than that. and expect to actually make an impact without an extra lot of work. And so I very much appreciate the business and the ideas that you guys have helped with and started. I think that there are a lot of people that don't appreciate the government right now. And I feel like there is an opportunity for the government to reach those people if given the opportunity. And one of those ways, I believe, actually Noam Chomsky lives in Arizona, so he would definitely be the guy to talk to. But one of my ideas was maybe having like a political office specifically for anarchists. There should be a way for the government to trust itself to get rid of itself. We don't necessarily need government to rule over people. People can rule themselves, and I think that we should try to make the effort to get in that direction. That's one of the main ideas. A couple of other ideas was like, with the human trafficking issues that have been going on lately, I feel like, the porn age, if you want to work in porn, at least be 21 years old. That's another idea if you want to run on that. That's all I got. Sorry. Can I Tim talk about
About 15 more seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
15 more seconds? Oh, that ain't enough.
All right.
Shit.
Well, that's what I got to do. That's what I have to offer.
Yeah, no, well, one of the other ideas is like, we got a lot of restaurants. I think we have too many restaurants, a lot of obesity. I feel like we should probably have more sports out there. I'm a Niners fan. They're doing great this year. So I hope we do more stuff like that. I'd be interested in coaching or something
Feel
like that.
free to write these to us, and we'll make sure we get it to them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I figured it'd be a little bit more personal for me to come in, and so that way you guys can know who I am. And I feel like, there are a lot of people with a lot of the same thoughts, and it's just, I want to connect with people. I do, on my own time, in my own way, patiently, smoothly, gracefully. Like I said, I was raised in the church. I respect a lot of people's beliefs, and I know it's all
Thank you, Mr.
all over the
Castro.
place.
We have to move on.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. Thank you very
I'll come
much.
back.
Appreciate that. Next person I would like to ask to come forward is Brian Ott.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. Before I forget, I wanted to congratulate the Police Department, the Chief of Police, for obtaining, I think it was over $50,000 in grants for traffic, which is going to go far. So why I'm up here is I wanted to bring up the topic of salary increases for the mayor and council. It was brought up, I think, over 18 months ago, when I think Mr. Price was mayor. And anyway, it kind of faded out. But I wanted to bring it up for discussion if you get a chance sometime next year, because I think it's important that the council is up for a raise, and the mayor, because to keep qualified people in these positions, you have to compete. You have to be compatible. Otherwise, who wants to do all this volunteer work for, pennies on the dollar? I know you put a lot of time in. I think it's the last time I spoke on that, I was against it. It was just not the right time. I think the right time is here. I'd like to see it put on agenda in the future. I think it's important that the mayor and council is compensated for the population of this city compared to other cities in the United States. I'm sure you can come up with a graph that shows where you're at, and I think you're, for the size of the city, I think it's time. I think it's, and I know I can't, at the top of my head, I believe it was the mayor's, I think it was a good 40% that they wanted to do back then. But anyway, I think a new round, it should be open up for discussion. So it's important that I think that you have the public bring it up instead of the council, because that way, I know it's hard to do that. Believe me, I understand in the position you're in. So hopefully we can get that up for discussion and come up with some decent percentages. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ott. Appreciate that. Next, I would like to request Barry McCain to approach the podium.
Good evening, Mayor Smith, City Council, staff, and friends. My name's Barron McCain from right here in Arizona, the Maricopa. I'm an activist, registered lobbyist, and for Arizona veterans with disabilities, and 2020 Freedom Rider. Welcome back again, Mayor Smith. I'd like to make it known that the month of December, that there's more suicides than any other month in the year. And this affects our disabled community. So I feel that as I go around talking to people, people are telling me that they're worried about losing their Second Amendment right. And I quickly squash that. It's not possible. It's just not going to happen. But this country started because they didn't want taxation without representation. So we have the legislation coming up beginning in January, and I'll be right out there doing that. But I don't know if you knew about Supreme Court Justice Antoine Scalia. He said that what makes America great is not that it's you have birthright or birthline. Even in this country, it's about America, equality, and opportunities, why people come to this country. Nothing more than that. So if we don't have free speech, we don't have freedom. Both James Madison and Alexander Haig both said that if democracy was to stop, that wouldn't be because of class, but because of ethnic identity. Mayor Smith, while you were gone, in my opinion, I saw a cabal, in my humble opinion, a violation of the Bill of Rights for someone to appoint someone to a committee and then they don't even bother to show up and then want to appoint another person to that committee. It seems to me like it was pure racism. I have to admit, both my kids are highly educated, but both are African-American students, and my mom was Cajun. So I know what racism is. This is going to tear our country apart. So I'm asking you, Mayor Smith, to use prudent judgment to correct this obvious infringement on the U.S. Constitution, because our people have to be having freedom. They have to also have a say in government, or we don't have a government, or we're going to go right back where we did before. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCain. And one last request to speak from Ashley Whitlock. Please come forward. Hello.
Hello, Councilman and Mayor. Thank you for having me today. My name is Ashley Whitlock. I'm coming here today because I applied for a position with the city on August 28th, and it was for the talent acquisition specialist position. I followed up for 2 whole months. They kept telling me to follow up and watch my email. Never received a response. As of today, December 4th, it is still referred to a hiring manager, yet the position was filled. I asked for accountability by calling to find out how I was not even rejected or sent even a notification that it was even filled. No response has been given to me by the office at all. So now I come here today to ask what can be done as far as accountability going forward for future applicants, and to actually create an action plan so that this does not continue to happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Mhm.
All right, that is the end of our speaker cards. Would anyone like to come forward and approach the podium and speak to City Council? All right, seeing none, we will close the call to the public. That takes us to the consent agenda. This evening, we have consent agenda items 7.1 through 7.9. I have no speaker cards. Council members, do you have any questions, comments, concerns? No. Seeing none, do I have a motion? So moved by Vice Mayor Vidiello. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Marsh. Any additional comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us to our regular agenda, 8.1 and 8.2. I do have, excuse me, we'll start with 8.1. They are related to 8.2. I do have a speaker card, so after we have a presentation by Derek, I'll call up the speaker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members of the council, Derek Shearer with Planning Division of Development Services Department. Here to present items 8.1 and 8.2 in a joint presentation. These are two accompanying applications. The first one, 8.1, Resolution 23-69. It's an application for a major general plan amendment, GPA 23-04, and 8.2 for ordinance number ORD 23-39 is for a planned area development rezone request, PAD 23-01. The applicant is CVL Consultants. The location of the property in question on the screen, you can see here bounded on the north by Steen Road, on the south by Peters and Knoll Road, and bisected by North Murphy Road. This is an application, two applications for a major general plan amendment and a rezone on approximately 481 acres to change the general plan designation from low-density residential, medium-density residential, master plan community, and open space to master plan community, and to change the zoning from the Eagle Shadows PAD with CR2 and CR3 single-family residential to Murphy Park PAD, planned area development, for the development of an employment and business park and various residential developments that'll include single to multifamily. Here on the map you can see, as it stands on the left, the current general plan for the area. It's mixed. We have the master plan community in the top right corner, medium density residential on the west side, open space on the south, and low density residential on the bottom. And I should note, south of Peters and Knoll right there is Action Indian Community with their industrial park and the Hickman's chicken plant there. The applicant is proposing to change all of this to master plan community for development of this office park. Right now, with that current zoning on this next map, we have it as CR3 single family residential across the street from a chicken plant, which isn't very appropriate for separation of those two land uses. The applicant is proposing this PAD, which is a unique PAD where we usually see it that it's just residential. This is a corporate park, employment park PAD. It's centered towards doing minimums and maximum land uses rather than just a bubble chart of this use in this area to provide quite a bit of flexibility for future developers. For the employment, there'll be a minimum of 80 acres with a maximum of 401 acres. For residential, minimum 80 acres with a maximum of 401 acres. The residential will have single family alternative housing, which is alley loaded or cluster or auto cart single family housing. And what the PAD is proposing is to put the office park on the southern part, which can possibly include some light industrial uses that are more appropriate next to the industrial uses on the other side of Peters and Knoll Road. And then as you move forward northward, then the residential will be up against Steen Road, separating those uses. The only real deviation from our base zoning code that the applicant is applying for is for the RS5 or RS5 PAD, where the minimum lot area is proposed to be reduced from 5,000 square feet to 3,200 square feet with a lot width reduction from 50 to 40. And this is to accommodate for those cluster developments where it would be an auto court as you drive in, common shared driveway, and all the houses are sort of around it. We don't have any of those yet in Maricopa, but there's plenty of them in the valley. They are a popular product. They just haven't come down here yet. PAD doesn't propose to deviate from the multifamily, the high density multifamily residential, general commercial, general office, or the light industrial. Those are following this zoning ordinance as intact, but those are included as possible areas for development towards the south of the property. What's unique in this development, with the PAD design elements, the applicant has included design elements for the corporate park and for the office park, where it has to have certain amenities for the employees outside. I have some images up here are examples from the applicant where you have that corporate feel. You have the park outside where the employees can go and have their lunch or take their break and walk around. They have to have landscaping and trails, which is rather unique compared to the other commercial developments that we have. So the applicant is really proposing to develop an employment center for the community. The general plan request for master plan community for the entirety of the site, 481 acres. Given the context of the area with the industrial that's already existing to the south and single-family residential, this is a good buffer between the two, and Planning Commission and city staff think it's appropriate for this area, and also with the PAD zone change amendment. Public outreach, because this was a major general plan amendment with the 481 acres, under state law there was extra notification that was needed. I'm not going to read through all of this, but there was several neighborhood meetings, 2 meetings at the Planning and Zoning Commission, multiple letters sent out, the site posting, and now the public hearing in front of the council today. On November 13th, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval for GPA 23-04 and also approval for PAD 23-01. Each of these have to be acted on separate motion. The general plan amendment has to precede the zone change. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the council may have, and the applicant and their consultant team is here to answer any questions you may have as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Derek. This is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. We have one speaker card, as I indicated, Christian Price. And if you'd like to come forward and share your thoughts with us, that would be great.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Just very briefly, as you know, as I stand here today as a representative of MEDA and the businesses that are board members of MEDA, we're just a very big proponent of this. This is a 480 acres. As you know, the flexibility in this is really important to economic development because it has a mixed-use component to it. And just so you know, we were actually at this site on Friday showing this to potential site selectors and companies. And so, again, I know that as a council, you're very pro-economic development. So again, we're just here to show our support for it, and hope you'll vote in favor of it. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you very much. Would any others like to approach the podium on this public hearing? Yes, please do.
I hate to be, hello? Yeah, okay. I gotta get the right distance of this. I'm sorry. I appreciate, the development of the city. I was born and raised in the Bronx. I know something about overpopulation. If you guys really wanted to hear about somebody's opinion about, where you should build and how you should build, you should probably listen more to the indigenous tribes. I don't see any indigenous people out there. It's just one of the ideas that I had, and then just for future reference as well. It's kind of just being respectful, and maybe it'll give us a little bit better karma. That's it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Would anyone else like to approach the podium? This is the opportunity to speak out and share your thoughts to the public, to businesses, to whoever would like to speak. All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any questions or concerns that you'd like to discuss? Yes, Councilmember Guerrero.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Mr. Scheer, if I can have you back for just a second. First of all, thank you for bringing this project to us. I'm really excited about it, especially the economic development side of what these commercial properties will bring to our city. If we can go back to slide number 6, where it has the table of the proposed RS5 pad. Oh, you passed it, I believe.
Oh, gosh, I turned it off.
Keep going, forward.
There we go.
Oh, one more, back.
Yep.
Okay, this is good. This is fine there. So that middle table there, we have the current RS5 code, which is at 5,000 square foot of a minimum lot width of 50. The developer is asking for a proposed exception to that, as I understand correctly.
Correct.
Bringing it down to a 3,200 square foot lot at a 40-foot minimum width. I'm a little nervous on this, and so I need you to make me a little bit more comfortable here. I love the project and I love the idea. Are we setting a precedence by allowing some of these code variations to be existing if we approve this tonight? And we're almost cutting that lot square footage in half, well, down to 2/3. I'm not sure that that's the product that we're looking for coming here in Maricopa. I understand there's some unique design involved, and so maybe you can address that a little bit more with me to just help me be a little bit more comfortable with this exception that they're asking for.
Absolutely. Madam Mayor, Councilmember Gettle, yes, when this first came in, staff ran these numbers, 3,200 divided by 40 is a 40 by 80 foot lot, and we were kind of questioned that ourselves. We discussed that with the applicants, but when looking at what the design idea was for these, and mind you, it's not that every single lot is going to be developed like this, but the idea was to be able to do that cluster development either as an auto court or doing the 0-foot Z lot line where all the houses, they're pushed over to one lot line and they're open on the other side, and then the side that they're on has that access easement, use and benefit easement. And the applicant proposed that to be able to keep that open for that type of product. If it were to be developed single family under these standards where, rectangular lots, linear tract building, it would be kind of difficult to be able to do that, I think, once you get into looking at the right-of-way with the lot widths, parking, driveways, everything like that. This sort of caters towards that sort of development or a tighter development. I'm trying to think of where this subdivision is in my head up in the valley that has a similar one. And I'm blanking exactly where it is. I'm looking at it on the map, but I can't tell you where it is. And it works. I have the applicant team here as well. They can probably describe what they have in mind specifically a little better than what I have from what was presented to me and what I analyzed and discussed with them. If you'd like
If the
that.
applicant would like to address, that'd be perfect. Thank you. If that's okay, Mayor.
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, good evening. My name is Julie Vermillion with the applicant CVL Consultants located at 4550 North 12th Street in Phoenix. Thank you all so much for hearing our case tonight, and thank you, Derek, for the great presentation. Just to elaborate on his point, these smaller lot sizes are being proposed due to a market demand. We're seeing a lot of home builders now producing these type of alley-loaded cluster or cottage-style home product, and it just creates housing diversity and the opportunity to provide more affordable homes, which I know is something that's very desirable right now, especially in this growing area of Maricopa.
Thank you very much for the enlightenment. Appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. I'm available with any other questions that you might have.
Council, any additional questions?
Mayor,
All right, yes.
quick comment
please.
if I might. Councilman Kettle, you weren't on the council at the time. We took a trip to Utah and visited Daybreak. Most of you up there were there. It follows that pattern where they have more shared common green space in the rear loading alleys, which also makes more affordable product at the end of the day. And I'd be happy tomorrow to give you the website so you can get a better look at some of those examples.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think you'll really appreciate that. It was quite a lovely community.
And one point of clarification,
yes.
Mayor, even though it was a joint presentation, the zoning question that was just asked, which is fine to deal with, but the ordinance is the general plan
Yes.
use and the next one is the zoning. So
Yes,
just for
perfect.
clarification for the
Yep,
public
We're
record.
currently on the general plan. Any additional questions, comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Motion
Motion to approve, yes.
by Councilmember, okay, Marsh, and seconded by Councilmember Wade. Any further discussion on 8.1? Great, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that motion carries.
Thank you.
So Derek, you don't have an additional presentation on 8.2, would that be correct, or do you?
No, I do not, Madam Mayor. Both of those were together. I can run through it again very quickly if you'd like, or if
No,
any
I
other
think-
new questions pop
I think
up.
we're fine. Yep.
And Madam Mayor, just to be clear, if there is a concern about the 50 to 40, this is where that would be addressed.
Yeah, and that's maybe where I'll follow up with an additional question, Mayor.
Perfect, perfect. This is a public hearing. I don't have, well, I do have a speaker card on this, but Mr. Price, do you have anything to add? Okay, perfect. So I have no other speaker cards. Would anyone like to approach the podium? Seeing none, council, do you have any comments or questions?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Chair, if you don't mind approaching one more time. So my original first question then is, this seems to be a little bit of an anomaly. I don't recall ever making a specific change to our current zoning for the RS5 with the proposed here. And so are we setting a difficult precedence by allowing an exception to that current zoning as it stands?
Madam Mayor, Councilor Gettle, we have made changes before to the RS5, bringing it down to the 40.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
We're moving into the second public hearing. We need to close the first one, I'm told. Is that right?
I did.
Okay. All right, it's Ben's fault.
Yeah, that's all right.
My apologies.
Yes, we have done exceptions before. The 3,200 square foot is lower than what we've done before, but that's a result of the product that they have in mind for this. We've gone down to 4,000, 4,200 square feet with a 40-foot wide lot, and we may, I don't want to speak out of turn, we may have gone a little lower than 40 feet on some of the PADs in the past.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that information. I appreciate it.
Any further comments or questions from council? Yes, Councilmember Lehrman.
I will say that as I continue to talk to community members, there really is a high demand for continued diversified housing in Maricopa. And I know we've come a long way in the last few years, but that is a real high demand. And so this is a really interesting, unique community. And I think that there is a need for it in our community specifically for what's being offered.
Thank you. Any additional comments, questions? Yes, City Manager.
I wanted to draw the parallel too, that part of the reason for this is because of the way it will fit against the employment sections and the buffering and those type of things. A lot of communities, they call this kind of clustering, but it's also to facilitate the other employment and industrial uses and to have proper setbacks and amenities in between the two, if that helps.
Very good, thank you. Yes, Councilmember Lehrman.
It's just you can't overstate it enough, the need for affordable housing in our community. I continue to hear of families losing their homes, families living together. And so when a project like this is offered, that's who I think of, families who are just trying to have a place to live. And so I think it's a great opportunity to provide alternatives for what we currently offer.
Thank you. Any additional comments, questions? Yes, Councilmember Manfredi?
The previous person, he left, but he spoke about getting the input from our native Indian communities that surround us. They abut, right, is that what it's called? This property, right? So they're right there, they connect. So that means they were given all notices that were mailed to them and all of that was taken care of, correct?
Correct.
And they were given all options.
TAC notice, the notice requirement from the state for all school district, the tribe, the county, everyone with a major GPA. There was a huge mailing, all utilities in the area, everyone was notified. We did not have any response from our neighbors to the south.
So options were given to provide responses or any input on this case.
Yes.
And to expand further on that, it wasn't just given the notice of the meetings, they were deferred, meaning given all of the plans.
Yeah.
They looked at them from onset through the beginning. We looked at it for historical artifacts. All those type of things were part of the review process. So they were intimately involved from the onset, not just through a public hearing process.
Right, so they were given all possibilities to reply and be involved, but there was no response.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, do I have a motion? So moved by Councilmember Gatto, seconded by Councilmember Manfredi. Any further discussion on 8.2? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Derek, that'll take us to 8.3, which is the general plan amendment connected to the rezone of 8.4.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The next item on the agenda, I have again compiled both of for the resolution 23-70 and ordinance 23-40 items 8.3 and 8.4 into one presentation. The applicant, again, is CVL Consultants. The site is located at the northeast corner of West Steen Road and North Murphy Road, so this is just northwest of that Murphy Park site that we just discussed. This site is approximately 80 acres in size. It's just over 80 acres, which is what triggered this major general plan amendment request. There's also a PAD rezone request with it. The applicant is proposing to change the existing low-density residential land use category to medium-density residential and commercial, and from general industrial CI2 to planned area development for the Pecan Groves PAD. Right now, this site has a general plan future land use map designation of low-density residential, which low-density residential is 0 to 2 houses per acre, so half-acre lots. They're proposing to do medium-density residential for a typical residential subdivision with commercial. As you can see on the right-hand side there, commercial portion of the site is going to be hugging that northwest corner of Steen and North Murphy Road, catty corner to the Murphy Park development, and across the street from the Murphy and Farrell PAD, which also has commercial on that side. So this is pulling together commercial right around this corner here to activate that in the future. The rezone request is to rezone it from general industrial CI2, which is our highest industrial use here, to change it to the Pecan Groves PAD for the single-family residential development. The Pecan Groves development is proposing a typical single-family lot sizes of 40 to 150 by 115 square feet, 45 by 120 square feet, and 60 by 125 square feet. So it'll encapsulate basically all the different lot sizes to get all the economic income brackets and socioeconomic brackets that can in one neighborhood, where you can have the starter home and then graduate up to the larger lots and the larger homes. There's also a 5.2 acre commercial site on that bottom right-hand side at that corner. The commercial site is going to be integrated to the residential development. They'll be connected internally on the collector road going into the subdivision. And the subdivision is also will be connecting to the Cortona subdivision to the west, and then north where the Maricopa 40 PAD is, which usually when we have PADs, they're isolated in their own, they're connecting to the streets, they're not interconnecting to other planned or existing neighborhoods, but this one is, which is pretty unique and exciting for us. Again, for PAD, a number of design elements. I know it's a little bit difficult to read, but the applicant has put in some notable elements, including pocket parks, linear trail system throughout, a whole lot of landscaping, really emphasizing the linear park, amenitizing it, creating categories for minimum amenitization that staff is supportive of. The internal streets are going to be typical 50-foot wide right-of-ways that we see with 5-foot detached sidewalks. The medium-density residential and commercial designations, given the context of the area with the Cortona development to the west, the Maricopa 40 development and the high school to the north, is consistent and appropriate for the area, as is the proposed PAD changing from general industrial to the planned area development for the single-family residential development. Again, like the previous application, this is a major general plan amendment under state statute. There's a significant amount of outreach that has to occur. It goes to everyone in the area, the 600-foot notification, but then it also goes to the schools, City of Casa Grande, even Maricopa County was notified on this because under state law, that's what you have to do. So everyone's given an opportunity to chime in or put their input in, questions or anything. Staff has not received any. 2 neighborhood meetings, let's see, sign posting, several newspaper notifications, and here we are today to hear it. November 13th, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval for GPA 23-02, and they also recommended approval for PAD 2217 for the rezone. And I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have. And the applicant team is here as well to answer any other questions.
Thank you, Derek. So this is a public hearing as well. I don't have any speaker cards. Would anyone like to approach the podium on this public hearing? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council, are there any questions, comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion? So moved by Councilmember Manfredi,
Second?
seconded by Councilmember Marsh. Any further discussion on 8.3, which is the general plan amendment? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Now we'll go ahead and vote on the 8.4, which is the rezone. This is also a public hearing. I will open up the public hearing at this point. Would anyone like to approach the podium? I have no speaker cards. Yes, please.
Just a real quick question on impact fees. How will that affect the?
Please
impact
use the
fees?
microphone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Brian Ott, how will that affect the impact fees, that rezone? Oh, I'm sorry. Just a quick question. The impact fees, how will that affect with the rezone for this particular?
I'll have to defer that to the
Mayor
city
and council,
manager.
like everything, there will be appropriate impact fees based on the impact that the project comes. As you know, we're in the process of updating our impact fees, so they're standard across the city.
Very good. Is there anyone else that would like to approach the podium at this time? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council, are there any questions or comments on the rezone of 8.4? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Ooh, that was a race. Councilmember Wade, motion? Oh, Councilmember. Oh, did you have a question? Okay, Councilmember Marsh, motion to approve?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Wade. Any further discussion? Seeing none, do I, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us to 8.5, which is also a general plan amendment.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. Derek Scheer again. This next case, I have one presentation again for items 8.5 and 8.6, RES 23-71 and ordinance number ORD 23-41. This is for a minor general plan amendment and a planned area development rezone. This proposal sort of changes gears from the last two proposals. This is right in our back door here in the Seven Ranches area at the corner of Santee Road and North Gunsmoke, just north of the church site. This approximately 20-acre site, the applicant is requesting the minor general plan amendment to change the existing mixed-use designation to low-density residential, and from general rural to planned area development to develop a 26-lot subdivision with lot sizes of a half acre or more. Currently, the site has a designation for mixed use, but the applicant wants to develop at a much lower density for low density residential designation on the site. It's not often that we get this decrease and have larger lots. This is quite unique. The product that the applicant is proposing with the rezone from general rural to the PAD is for half acre size development. So basically a private subdivision of custom built homes on half acre plus lots, which we don't have in the city. We've stressed for applicants, maybe you want to increase some lot sizes because we want to be able to pull everybody in. We want everyone from every economic bracket because that's what makes a good community. The applicant here is doing that with a private subdivision with these large lots and custom homes. As we all know, most of the homes here are tract homes. Here is a conceptual land use plan of the layout. Excuse me, sorry. The subdivision is going to connect to Gunsmoke Road, so it's at that northwest corner of Santee and Gunsmoke, with emergency access along the east, excuse me, something in my throat. It's going to be on that northwest side going up Whisker Road. Through the development, preliminary plat, final plat, the applicant will be developing that portion of Gunsmoke Road and portions of Santee and also bringing sewer service into the area there, which hopefully then will expand to the other areas of the Seven Ranches area that does not have the sewer inside. So this may be that first step that really starts the trigger building within the 7 Ranches area. The proposed gated subdivision, private access, it's got a main community park, several pocket parks with retention basins, well-landscaped strips, landscaped streets. The HOA is going to have control over architectural design review in addition to what's in the PAD and the CCNR requirements. The proposal for the low-density residential designation, given the context of the area, is appropriate for the area, and it's needed in the city with all the other development that we have. So got a lot of the smaller lots, now we're going for the bigger lots. The zoning change that is accompanying the GPA is appropriate for the area. Staff has vetted it as well as all the other city departments, and staff is in favor as well as the Planning and Zoning Commission. Public outreach was conducted, site was posted, neighborhood notification letters were sent, neighborhood meeting, Planning and Zoning Commission, and now the City Council. On the 13th of last month, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval for GPA 22-14 and approval for PAD 22-20. Happy to answer any questions that the council may have. Also, the applicant is here and will be able to answer any questions you have as well.
Thank you, Derek. This is a public hearing, so at this point, I'll open the public hearing. Would anyone like to approach the podium? Seeing none, I will, oh, yes, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Dave Morgan. I'm the property owner, actually, and helping to manage this project. So, earlier this evening, Councilmember Learman talked about the need for different types of housing projects. I certainly agree with that. I'm heavily involved in the city of Maricopa with, I have whatever Derek has, apparently. Excuse me. Yeah, heavily involved in residential real estate, and I do agree with that. I perhaps disagree a little bit as far as when it comes to building affordable housing. I feel like we have a lot of that in the works that's planned and being built right now. I will say that's what brought me out to Maricopa originally. I was looking for a new home in 2006, and Maricopa was what fit the budget at the time. And happy to make that move. But I think there's a lot of people like me who want to stay in Maricopa and maybe have outgrown a starter home and want something bigger, something nicer, some more land. Right now, if you wanted to design and build your own home, you can't really buy a lot. Maybe there's a few infill lots perhaps in the Heritage District, but you have to go to the outskirts of the unincorporated part of town. And so talking to people, I really feel that there is a high demand for this type of product. One of those lots in that plat is going to be for me. I plan on building there myself. I took the biggest one, of course, but I hope you'll vote yes. Derek mentioned that perhaps attracting people from other cities that will come and want to build, but I really think that most of the purchasers of these homes, because I'm going to sell the lots and people can buy a lot and then build their own home. I think a lot of them are really going to come from within the city of Maricopa. Hopefully we can keep people that want to stay here and want a home, and then they won't have to go to Chandler or Gilbert or Abatuki or wherever to find that home that they want. Even as the submission for the project was making its way through planning and zoning in different parts of the city for approval, I got multiple phone calls from people that said, hey, can you save me a lot when it becomes available? So I really think this is something that the city of Maricopa needs, and I hope you'll approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Imagine the Christmas display, right? Would anyone else like to approach the podium during this public hearing? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. I would like to say, actually in agreement with what you were indicating, if you aren't aware, Council has the opportunity to put a project list together that we talk about during the Futures meeting, which happens in February. And one of my project ideas was to find ways to entice developers to bring this type of housing, because as I talk to doctors of some of our medical businesses within the city, or the potential for hospitals to come and doctors to come and not wanting to be traveling constantly, or even industrial parks and CEOs and directors of those, they are going to probably want a larger home, larger lot, a little bit more space for themselves. And so as I put together my project list, I'm like, this is something that I feel like we have to work on to figure out how to entice a developer, and lo and behold, we have a developer who's willing to do that. So I'm really excited about this project. I watched it during P&Z, and it just thrilled me to no end. Council, any additional comments, questions? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I'm excited about the project, but I know a 5,000 square foot house if you're interested right away, okay, with the basement. Anyway, just kidding. So I'm excited to hear about this project, but I'm also concerned, will Gunsmoke be fully paved?
Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor Vidiello, Gunsmoke access to there, my understanding, it's going to be paved all the way down to the school, and then from the school south, it's emergency access.
Let's answer that question during the zoning.
Okay.
Yeah, for the planning amendment. Sure. Any additional comments on the planning amendment? Yes. Yes. Yes, please.
So I just need a little bit of education here, if you will, please, in terms of the notification process and who is engaged and who has the ability to be engaged in notification. For instance, I'm talking about a church, and you have people that don't necessarily live in the area but are impacted by things that are happening where their church is located, Gunsmoke. So how did that notification work in terms of being able to include members or people who don't live there but have a vested interest in what's taking place?
Madam Mayor, Councilmember Wade, for the notifications, mailed notifications went to property owners within 600 feet of the site. Then the site was posted, was published in the newspaper. It was also presented at the Planning and Zoning Commission, which then that's posted on the city website. And that's by ordinance for this application, what the notification is. Anything beyond that, 600 feet, they're not going to get anything in the mail, but if they're looking at the city's agendas, they would see this come up, or if they were traveling in the area next to the property, they would see the posted signs for it.
Is that something that's ever been...
To be clear, council member, all properties, regardless of their use, whether it's a store or a church or a home, all of them get noticed.
Within 600 feet.
Yes, I'm clear on that. That's not my question. The question is those people who may operate within that 600, or do not operate, may operate within that 600 feet, but they don't live there, so they don't get notification of what's taking place.
There's notifications on the signs that we put on the property and within the newspaper publications, within the planning and zoning agenda publications, this meeting publication, but they do have a responsibility to look for some of those things because we don't know who they are or where they live, and we can't just bring it to their personal attention.
But do they understand that even though they find the information, that they have a ability to participate? That's my concern.
I think the applicant has something to add.
I was going to say also, so the notices are mailed to the mailing address of record.
Correct.
Yeah, versus the property address. So yeah, I remember seeing one to Our Lady of Grace Church, the Heritage Academy, because they were within that 600 feet. So we had one that went to Canada. Several of the properties are just vacant lots in the Seven Ranches area, so there's no residents, but whatever the mailing address of record was, that's where they were sent to. Not sure if that answered your question.
Well, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not asking the right question. So is there power in numbers, I guess is the question. I mean, if you have a number of people in one facility or one place, and there are changes that are taking place in that place, do those numbers have?
So, council member, let's take church as an example.
Yes.
It would have been mailed to whoever is the custodian of the property.
Right.
And it would be their responsibility to share that with parishioners if they so choose to do so.
They can
Now,
do that then?
They can do that,
reach out to the
absolutely. It's open, these public hearings for anybody in the city to participate in. That's why we publish them in newspapers and everything else. We just are required to do the mailings. You will recall, council, that the legal is 300. You asked us to do 600. But all these other notifications are required, and anyone in the city, or frankly, anyone in the state, has the right to come to the public hearings and participate in the process.
Well, that's good, because I get a number of people who would probably be calling me and ask, how come they didn't know? And I would ask them, did you read your newspaper? Did you look for the signs? Did you get engaged in the process? And the next question to me would be, well, I don't live there. Or next statement, I don't live there, so why would why would my voice be considered important?
And a lot of people are only concerned if it happens in their backyard. I mean, that's just the human nature, I'm afraid. But we do have other citizens who are interested in everything that goes on in the city, and we applaud them for their interest.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wade. Councilmember Lehrman.
Well, I'm excited about this project too, and I know when I talk about diversified housing, I mean all types of housing, so this is really unique and exciting, and I'm glad that it's being proposed tonight.
Thank you very much. Additional comments, questions? I have a motion to approve by Councilmember Manfredi. Do I have a second? By Vice Mayor Vidiello. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. That takes us to 8.6, which is the rezoning portion. Vice Mayor, would you like to, excuse me, let me do the public hearing first. This is a public hearing. I now open that public hearing. I have 0 speaker cards. Would anyone like to approach the podium? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council, do you have any questions? And I know, Vice Mayor, you had a question.
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
So just like I said, I'm just curious about how much of it will be paved. It's a very dangerous road.
Derek, can you
And-
pull that map back up that shows the site plan?
Yes.
And you go from coming off of Honeycutt, they tend to come down that road at 50 plus miles an hour. I've witnessed it numerous times. Hit the dirt road, poof,
The one that shows the streets.
and then they're going to hit a dirt road and then go back to a paved road. So I'm just concerned that they're thinking that the road may be completely paved, and I'm worried about accidents happening in the section that's not paved.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor Vidiello, I know it's hard to see it kind of turning around. So with the site, emergency access only is going to be provided on Whisker here. It is going to be an all-weather emergency access going from the school south to the site, but the paved road is going to end right there, and it's going to turn into that all-weather emergency access. Full paved access will be provided along Gunsmoke here all the way down, and then going Santee, that's already paved. We can investigate when it comes to the preliminary plat and the final plat, off-site engineering perhaps, for a solution on Whisker, if that is a concern of the council. Absolutely, we can look at that and investigate different traffic calming measures or alternative traffic measures to have people stop going down that, because it will be just an emergency access only. But then again, that is the access, if I can get this back up. We have several lots here.
Derek, I think what he's asking is, will there be paved access? And it will be off Santee Road. Santee's paved, and that section going north will be paved. The rest of it will not be paved.
Yeah, Whisker's
It will
not
be
paved.
paved when development comes forward.
Correct, but all
So-
the Gunsmoke will be.
But the rest of it will not be paved until development comes forward.
Okay.
The city maintains it with a grader, and will
Yes.
do that. But some of that's not even a city right-of-way at all.
Okay.
All right, any additional
Thank you.
comments, questions? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Councilmember Wade. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Marsh. Any further conversation? Yes, please.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Will it be open in December for the light show?
That's all we're focused on.
In fact, the HOA is likely going to have some sort of requirements that you have to focus on. Holiday lights.
All right, any additional questions? All in favor? I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much, Derek. That was a long night tonight, wasn't it? All right, that takes us to agenda item 8.7, which is a resolution for adopting a fee schedule. We've seen this. Oh, Jennifer, thank you. I appreciate you coming forward.
Mayor, council members, you will remember we've met several times on this. So we had a couple of work sessions on the facility fee rentals and what that'll cost for folks to use our facilities. 2 work sessions, and then on October 3rd, you adopted new fees that give a 35% discount to our residents and our nonprofits. Part of the discussion was what to do with the non-resident fees, and the discussion was to make those double the base rate. So what the state requires is that we post any fee increases for 60 days. That has been accomplished, and now we bring it before you to decide if you'd like to adopt that increase in fees for our non-residents.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions at this point? Concerns? Yes, Councilmember Manfredi.
We're lowering the current rates from where they are today, correct? For residents.
For residents and nonprofits, that already went into effect. That went into effect November 2nd, so that was a 35% decrease for residents and nonprofits.
So we lowered the rates that people were paying last year. This year, they're paying less.
Correct.
I'm just making that point, that's all.
That's a great point.
Very good. Any additional comments, questions? Yes, Vice Mayor?
What about the businesses? Remember we had discussed?
Correct. Businesses are at the base rate right now, so they're still paying the same as they were last year.
Okay.
Very good. Yeah, there was a chance that they would have increased, and we said, no, we want them to stay the same. All right, so any additional comments, questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Councilmember Manfredi. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Lehrman. Any further comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. That takes us to a presentation on the Heritage District pre-approved house plans. And Rudy will be coming forward to give us a presentation.
Mayor, City Council members. I guess in the spirit of multifaceted housing options, I'd like to present to you guys, as mentioned, a program that the city will be offering early next year. So the city will be opening up a program first of the year where pre-approved house plans can be utilized for free to the public for construction. The idea was brought up during one of the leadership futures meetings, which I believe was maybe a year or two ago, that came up with this idea. And again, the city is ready to initiate such proposed program this coming new year. The city will offer free pre-approved house plans where a property owner applicant can submit for a building permit utilizing the free pre-approved house plans through a licensed contractor. There will be no review of plans or building review fees since they've been pre-approved by the city, which on average is about a $2,000 to $3,000 permit fee of the city. Through the city, though the city will still charge for its general impact fees and standard site plan review fees, but keep in mind that the cities and savings of a property owner or applicant to get a design professional fee, such as an architect for drawing up the building plans, can range up to $10,000 to $20,000 in design costs for construction, for just the plans itself. This program will initially only be available within the city's Heritage District, where lots within the Heritage District range from 50 feet to 70 foot wide lots, up to 115 to 150 feet long in depth. Today, these are approximately 70 vacant lots within the Heritage District, where these plans, these free pre-approved plans, can be utilized for construction, but also can be utilized for replacement of existing structures or existing lots that account for about 180 lots that have an existing structure out there today. For the next slides, I would like to introduce to you all our building official, Del Garcia, who has been graciously able to draw up these plans for the city for the program that we hope to open up next year. So Del, do you mind? Here we go. All you do is right for the next slide. Okay. Yep.
Mayor Smith, Council. When Rudy first told me about this program, I thought it was fantastic. Be able to give homeowners a chance to build something on their own, and especially in the Heritage District. I thought it was great. So I came up with this design. It's a simple design. If you look, on my left, it starts with the patio or the porch, going into the family room, There's a little hallway that goes into 2 bedrooms with a bath in the middle. Going from the family room on the top, you go through the kitchen, simple kitchen, trying to keep everything affordable. Going into a dining room with the rear porch. Also, there's an entrance into what I would call the master suite with its own bathroom as well. This is just a quick shot of the living room, just a conceptual design. Go into the dining room. Here's another shot of the kitchen. Simple kitchen with just the code requirements, sink, refrigerator, and a stove. Here's a look at the center bedroom with the hall bath to the 2 bedrooms. Here we have one of the elevations, which we're calling it cottage elevations. The plan is pretty much the same, other than just a few changes on the fronts, which gives us the same floor plan, but with 3 separate elevations, just so we can break up the looks of the houses. This is elevation A. Elevation B being the bungalow. We also incorporated different materials to create different elevations. This would be what we call the ranch. How we came up with those names, we just took a guess and just called them ranch, bungalow, and cottage. Here is 3D looks of what those plans would look like. Again, cottage, bungalow, and the ranch. This is a conceptual design of the house on what would be a 70-foot lot. We wanted to also create the front porch to be more of the old Main Street feel, where people can talk with each other or meet their neighbors. We wanted to kind of bring that back, so become more of a friendlier neighborhood, not everybody hide in the backyard. And this is one on a 50-foot lot. What we're looking for is eventually going to other plan sets, other options where we can create a smaller house, which would be probably 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom option, even go up to 1,500 to create maybe a 4-bedroom option. Also, looking in the future, we also want to do something to create a detached garage in the back for some of the slots that don't have the space for a side entry attached garage. I believe this is, yeah.
Thanks, Dale. Thank you, Dale. So just to kind of somewhat recap, we feel that we can initiate this program. There's some benefits to this as well. We believe that the product can definitely enhance the community design within the neighborhood to meet the spirit and requirements or guidelines of the Heritage District. Provides clear and objective design standards, again, adhering to the adopted design guidelines. Another option in terms of affordability, in terms of housing, reduction of permitting costs, the streamlining of the process itself, not going through a natural building review with the city because these are already pre-approved plans to the city itself. So it removes that obstacle in itself. And also the overwhelming development process of a homeowner dealing with, with an overwhelming process. It can be overwhelming if you're not used to, if you're not professional in the world of development itself. So we remove that barrier altogether. So next steps, we will be finalizing the program requirements this month. We began to work on an actual program flyer along with a waiver liability because as we have free approved plans, we have to cover ourselves of any type of liability out there. So we're working with legal department to make sure that we have all the information and correction and copyright issues on these plans itself. And we hope to have this ready to go for the first of the year, starting of the new year. And then lastly, I'll close it up that, to me, this is only the beginning. We hope to further incorporate this with a mixed-use commercial concept, where in this example you see again, Main Street, typical traditional America of a 2-story building, commercial on the bottom, residential on top. it definitely creates a more pedestrian, enhanced, vibrant experience space in itself. With this type of next moving forward, we'll have to get a design professional to help us out with the commercial licensing of this. Dale can only do so much on his time, but we believe that this housing product is a kickstart that can come up with other potential opportunities for free pre and approved plans with the city. Mayor, council members, with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions if there's any.
Council, any questions, comments? Councilmember Manfredi.
I just had one person ask me a question about this, so I'll ask you. I told them what I thought, and I believe I'm correct. Just because we have these available doesn't mean they're required to use them, correct?
I believe we can make some minor modifications to it.
No, hold on.
No, I think what he's saying is, this is a plan available to them. They don't have to use it. They can
Correct.
build
Exactly.
traditional.
Oh, yes, yes.
They can build whatever they want.
Correct.
there. They don't have to build
No.
only these homes.
No, these
So
are
that
just
was
an
my
option.
question.
Correct.
I just wanted to confirm for the person.
And
that
Mayor,
asked
if
me.
I could add a piece of information I think Rudy missed, is this does save $2,000 to $3,000 in permitting fees, but it also saves them not having to hire an architect or buy a pre-approved plan, which is another $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. And the mixed-use concept was so that they could possibly build an office with this type for small business upstarts too. And when Rudy first presented this to our senior leadership team, I don't know of anything like this in the nation. So I think this is a significant opportunity for us to lead the way, particularly as our state is confused about ways to help with these type of things. And maybe the state will leave us alone if they see cities like ours doing these innovative things. So I think we're looking for tonight to see if you have interest in us pursuing this further. If you do, we will tweak it and bring it back to you for a formal adoption at a later time.
All right, thank you. Additional comments? Yes, Councilmember Gettle.
Yeah, I just applaud the out-of-the-box thinking of our staff to bring this forward to us tonight. It's very exciting, and anything that we can do to continue to lower housing prices and being able to provide a more affordable project to our citizens, our residents, I'm all for. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Wade.
Just a question in terms of the floor plan. And I know we got a long way, and it probably comes in the form of tweaking as well as. Did you mention something? Someone mentioned something about garages or not being able to.
Yeah, Councilmember Wade, Mayor. So initially, the plan, we don't have a plan set that includes the garage, but we can definitely include a detached garage or attached garage option as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Additional comments, questions? Councilmember Marsh.
Yeah, could we consider the standards for aging in place? 30-inch doors and so forth. Ron Smith in Province has a full document on that, and he could coach you on that. But that would enable seniors to build their final homes here and use wheelchairs and such.
Councilmember would definitely look into it, yes.
Very good. Additional comments, questions? I will say when I knew that this was coming on, it concerned me a little bit because I'm like, where does it take us in regards to our vision for the Heritage District being walkable space with business? And at the very end, you nailed it in regards to the option to have a business on the bottom and a living space on the top, which definitely is all in line with our vision for the Heritage District. So I really appreciate it. I think it's good. Is it possible that you could do the single story into a business, or is that something to look at in the future?
Definitely, I think we could look into the future, but there's definitely opportunities.
At this
for
time,
sure,
we're
yes.
looking at the
Just
single
residential.
being residential
Correct.
and the two-story being business and residential.
yes.
All right, very good.
Mayor, in theory, you could take the same house model and just not build the interior walls.
Right.
As you know, a lot of business districts and historical districts take the old homes and turning it
Right.
into businesses. So it would follow that same format.
I love it. It really lends to our vision very nicely, so I appreciate that. Any additional comments, questions? All right, thank you, Rudy. Appreciate that. That'll take us to our last item, appointment of a new vice mayor. So as you are all aware, every year we review the vice mayor position, mainly because, not because vice mayor didn't do a very good job. He actually did a great job. But because we want to give the opportunity for council members to experience it if they so choose. And we've had many council members take advantage of that opportunity. I myself was able to serve for 2 terms as vice mayor, which is really cool. And I think it's really important to get that experience because when I'm not here, when the mayor's not here, they have to sit in and they get that experience as well. And so what I want to do first is tell you a little bit about Vice Mayor Vidiello. When he was being considered last year, I looked him straight in the face from up here in the dais and I said, you have the time, because he was working full time, he had activities going on, he has city council, things that he does. I'm like, do you really have the time? He looked me square in the face and he says, yes, I do, and I'll do everything you asked me to do. And I will tell you that as one of those folks sitting in our audience, as the mayor, you could fill up a calendar times 2. I mean, there's no problem doing that. So there's often times when there is a duplication of needing to be at 2 events that are very important. And so I don't want to make a choice, and I will ask the vice mayor. And every time I called vice mayor, for the most part, I don't think maybe once you had a conflict or something, but he would fill in and he'd be there. And so I really appreciate that. And as we look to have the next vice mayor appointed, carefully consider that because it can really take up some of your time. So I'd like to turn it over to you, and you can tell us a little bit about your experience for the last year.
Well, first of all, I was honored, and I loved every minute of it. I'd love to ask for another year, but I don't think that'd be fair to the other council members who, wait, and it's their time. I loved it, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. So I have to tell you, Mayor, thank you very much. And Vince, thank you very much for appointing me last year, and thank you, Council, for approving me. So this is not an easy decision because not one person up here, they all can do this job, every single one of them. They're always available, they're always at functions, they're always willing to put input. I call them, they pick up the phone, and they answer my question. Every one of them is super viable for this position, and eventually they all will have this position because this is a great council that we have. And I look forward to working with them in the future in a different position come April. As you all know, I will be resigning April 2nd to move on to a different opportunity in my life. But I had a real hard time with this, and this person has been in the city a long time. They've worked in this city. They've worked with our children. They've worked with our churches. And I asked those questions that the mayor asked me, the exact same. Do you have the time? Will you have the time? And will you be there for the mayor? Because when the mayor calls, it's obviously super important. So this decision, again, there's not one of them up here who couldn't do this job because they're all committed to this city. They all love this city, every single one of them. And I am honored and proud to say that I chose Amber Lieberman because of her perseverance. This woman has gone through a lot, but she has done her job, not only for us, but for our children in our schools. She has been there for them. She's been there for us. We've been there for her. So I am honored and proud and so happy to nominate Council Member Amber Lieberman for Vice Mayor for the next year.
Thank you. Would you also like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion on that.
Very good. I want to have a second from Councilmember Wade. Before we go any further discussion on this?
No need.
Very good. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations. All right, that takes us to the end of the agenda. We do have to move to E-session, so I will close the regular and open up the E-session following. Thank you very much for attending.